All right. Thank you for coming here today. And thank you, Jill, for inviting me. I'm just honored to be in front of all of you. And I'm grateful you came out to hear about what's happening at Olympic College. Before I launch into this presentation, I just want you to know I'm going to cover some things in detail and a lot of things overall, but there's just no way. It's just to cover everything that happens at that college. So I'm just going to scratch the surface. So I just want to let you know that. But we're going to jump into it. So there are 34 community and technical colleges in Washington State. So we're one of them. All of us have similar missions. This is our mission. Olympic College enriches our diverse communities through quality education and supports the students achieve their educational goals. We all have similar missions because we're in everyone's communities. That's how they popped up. And the research shows again and again, even in an online world, for many people, they will not go and get a degree if it's not in their own community. So there's a reason we're in your community, which I like a lot. It's funny, I don't see all my notes popping. I'm okay, people. We're gonna do it. Don't worry about it. I'm jumping. I have something else. Okay, so OC Olympic College has been here for a long time. We have graduated thousands of students and have made a significant and positive impact on the community. As with everyone in this room, we're always trying to improve and get better. You know, we have an awful lot to be proud of, and I'm going to show some of that to you tonight. So we've been here since 1946. How many of you have been here since 1946? Hey, a couple. Yay, good for you. Anyway, it's a great college. We have a lot to be proud of, and I'm going to talk about it now. So we have three main campuses, and so a small one up in Paulsbo to the north of us, the large one right here in Bremerton, another small one down in Shelton, about an hour to the south of us. We also have a fourth unofficial campus, which we call Puget PSNS, Puget Sound Naval Shipyard and Intermediate Maintenance Facility. So we teach a lot of programs there, which I'll show you in a few minutes. So if I was to ask any of you, what does a typical Olympic College student look like? What would you tell me? Younger than you. Huh, okay, that's something. But there's a lot of stereotypes. What was that?
Older than most college.
Older than most college students. Actually, thank you. That's actually accurate. You know, but I was going to ask you what a typical college student looks like at Olympic College, and there's just no such thing. There is no typical student, and I'm going to give you show you some of that in a minute. There's just a wide variety of diversity and backgrounds and where they're all heading and where they're coming from and their goals and their needs. I'm going to show you something I think is going to shock you tonight to see what some of our students are going through to be at our college. So, okay, so with that, I do want to show you that enrollment is on the rise. I'm really happy to see this, that you know, the pandemic knocked out a lot of students all around the country, but they are coming back, and it's really nice to see. Which is really interesting. So before the pandemic, we've always had an online component, like we're always teaching some classes online. Before the pandemic, 27% of our courses were online. Then the pandemic hit and 100% were online because we had to do that. But now, post-pandemic, what do you think the percentage is of online courses? So everyone got used to it. They're all online and everything. What do you think? Someone shout out a number. 50%. That is a great answer. So, but it was 27% before the pandemic. Now it's 21%. Wow. It's actually the opposite. And you know why? We think it's because people got tired of being online and not seeing each other. Even though there's a lot of remote learning and stuff, we are a social animal. We need to be in proximity to other people, and they're flocking back to campus, and they want to sit there like outside the cafeteria and everything and be there all day long just to see people in person. So that's a wonderful thing. So enrollment's on the rise. It's the sixth quarter in a row. It's on its way up. There are 6,347 students, but overall, over the course of this year, we'll teach about 12,000 students. So very proud of that. I want you to, oh, there's something I want you to see this. See where it says full-time equivalent students, 5,149. What that is measuring is so if you ever hear like at work, we have 1.5 FTE or something, that's full-time equivalent. In the college world, a full-time equivalent student is either one student taking 15 credits or 15 students taking 1 credit or anywhere in between. You keep adding it up to 15 credits and that's a full-time equivalent student. But what this tells you, so if every student was going full-time, that number would be 6,347. But what it shows you is that not every student is going full-time, but it's a lot more than typical. Typically, it's about 50% of our students are full-time, 50% are part, but right now there's a lot more going full-time, which I just find that fascinating. We are very proud of our connection to the military, and that number keeps increasing, and I'll show you some of the things that we do to help serve that community, that I think that's the reason it keeps going up. Running Start, where it says 1,296 students. Do you all know what Running Start is? It's I saw a couple no's. Okay. So Running Start is just a phenomenal program. This is a program that allows high school students in 11th or 12th grade and 12th grade to go to college and take college credits at the same time as they're getting high school credits. So we have that many students right now from the area high schools are at OC taking college classes at the same time they're earning their high school diplomas. Not all of them will get a 2-year degree when they graduate, but many will. So some just take a few classes, then they graduate high school, and then they come stay at the college or they transfer to a university. But we will have students who walk across the stage at the end of the year who've earned a high school diploma and a 2-year degree as seniors. I'm in absolute awe of those students. I just want you to think about what an undertaking that is. It's not for every student. You have to have a certain level of maturity for that. But now, since I've got all you captivated, what was our youngest graduate last year who got a 2-year degree? How old was that student?
16.
Close, 15. Wow. It was a homeschooled student who then came and got a 2-year degree at the age of 15. Mm-hmm. Now I really got your attention. What was the oldest graduate last year?
55.
Oh, you're so close, 72. The year before, I think it was 75. So, yeah. Okay, so next, very diverse student body. 35% of our students are students of color. 30% of our students are from low socioeconomic areas, and I'm going to show you how that plays in to this in a little bit. 39% of our students are first-generation students, and what that means, they are the very first one in their family to go to college, and that is a big deal. My father was the very first person in our entire family to go to college, and he got a master's degree. I'm the very first person in our entire family to get a PhD. But these are the first ones to ever go to college to get any kind of degree whatsoever, and I want you to know it's not an easy thing. Any of you first-generation college students? Or any of you? Woohoo! Look at that. We have 2. Congratulations. I think it's huge. I consider those people like they're astronauts. So like they don't know exactly where they're heading. They just know it's big and they're going to be a part of it. And we have to do what we can do to help them get there. We literally have students who have walked away from their family to come to college because they have parents who say, well, who are you? You think you're better than us? We didn't go to college. We have jobs. And they literally leave their family. And so they come to college, and if they're not successful, then they go back, and then we knock out a whole nother generation, and it's sad. But don't get me wrong, not everyone has to go to college. I'm not pushing that, but it's nice if you're there. Okay, Running Start, we already talked about them, 19%. These are the numbers I want you to think about. 31% of our students are considered homeless. I want you to think about that. That number was a lot smaller years ago, and now, post-pandemic, it is huge. So of those 6,000 something students, 30%, right? 31% are considered homeless. Many of them are couch surfing. Some of them are literally sleeping in cars. Some are in tents. I mean, they're all over the place. So that is a big thing to wrestle with. Even more, well, maybe not more than that, but in addition, see where it says 37% of our students suffer from food insecurity. And I'm going to show you some data in a few minutes and you're like, oh gosh, this is huge. So all of you, pretty much all of you eating dinner tonight, or you already ate dinner, you pretty much know you're going to have food in your bellies tonight. 37% of our students don't know that. And it greatly impacts what they learn. Because if you're hungry, that's all you are. You are hungry. You will rob things. You will go in a grocery store and grab food and run out the door. You'll do whatever it takes to eat. And then at the same time, you're trying to go to school and learn. I'm in awe that they're there and we do whatever we can to help them out. 19% of our students are unemployed, but they're seeking employment. So that's why we're here. Okay. I guess I should have asked you this question before. I should have asked. But you already guessed it. We're going to do it anyway. All right. Our median age of our students is 27. So half above 27 years old and half below. I think about that. You are never, well, you're not too young, you're not too old to go to college. It's a wonderful thing. I think, so 2 years ago, let's see, our youngest was in that graduation stand, going across the stage was 16 and the oldest was 84, I think. So every single person in this room, none of you have an excuse not to go to OC. You can all take classes. You can all do what you want to do. I mean, and plus it's not just classes for a degree. You can come for, the first thing we started opening up all those community and continuing education classes. And the first thing I was adamant when we hired that person, the first class you were going to offer, because community members constantly tell me they want to see it. Does anyone know what the class was?
Dancing.
Hey, you hit it, Jill. It was ballroom dancing. The first class was ballroom dancing, and we opened it up and 2 sections filled immediately. The first class, like for continuing education, was ballroom dancing. That's what people want. Ballroom dancing. So, okay, so I just shared with you something about food insecurity, and I'm going to show you some more specifics about this, just so you get an idea how big this is right now. We have a community partner that we work with to get bags of food. They used to deliver 100 bags of food a month. That is now up to 600. Our food pantry, it's a room, well, yeah, about a third of this size. Actually, we're greatly expanding it this year. But the food, it gets stocked up and it gets depleted in one day. All the food is gone. We student government gave $15,000 for food vouchers, thinking it would last the whole year, and it was gone in 8 weeks. And these are students, and of those students who answered a survey, 67% of them said that would be the only meal they had all day. So we give them a $20 food voucher. They go to our cafeteria, and that's the one meal they're going to get. So it's not all gloom and doom, because we're doing our best to help these people, but I just want you to see these are students they are driven, right? They are willing to starve and still go to college and get things done. So we're trying to do whatever we can. And we have Patricia Thomas is our resource center director. So she's the one that helps people find housing and food and clothes and everything else that she can help them get. And this is a quote right at the very beginning of the quarter. I talked to her about those food vouchers. I was like, where did all the money go? And she said, Marty, we can't get ahead of this. The need has exploded way beyond our capacity. I just hope you get when I see these students, I'm in absolute awe of them. I mean, it's just that they're still there and going strong, and we are doing what we can. So,
is this a post-pandemic development, or is this the case?
So, thank you for that. So the question is this a post-pandemic development, or is this something that's been going on right before that? There was always food insecurity, but it was never, ever, ever this high. Is definitely post-pandemic. Yeah. So the comment was that you worked for Result, an anti-poverty group, and you were wondering if the data that I'm presenting is available, because it would be very helpful to you. And absolutely, we can give you this and a lot more. Okay. This is just scratching the surface.
And this will be on the web, so you can download any data that you want. Okay. From the web. Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome. Okay, so now we're going to take a different direction. So all these students there at the college, right, they're doing different things. And what are they doing? They're coming to a whole variety of diverse programs that we have. So I already told you about the online classes, where we are with that. But we have, you'll see in a second, we have all these different degrees and certificates. We have these different academic pathways, and we're doing what's called career pathways, making it a lot easier for you to decide what career you want to get into, right? It used to be just come and take any of our 15,000 classes, discover yourself, you'll figure out where to go. But now it's more of, what is it you want to do? I mean, we put them in career pathways quickly, because our job is to get you in and get you out as fast as possible and get a job. If you have money and time, we don't care if you stay 50 years. But if most people want to get a job, or they're coming back and they're retooling and they're trying to go up, and get something better. So our job is to make it short and sweet. So if, like, for instance, if you said you wanted to be a nurse, we have a whole, which I'll show you in a minute, we have a whole bunch of health science pathways. But if you decide, I don't know, I'm not good with bedpans or blood or all this, but you haven't wasted your time, all those classes you were taking actually will help you become a radiologist or something else. So the job is you can move over a little quickly and just keep on going. And then it's just a lot easier to ask questions, right? So if we say something like, do you like kids? Like, I hate kids. I'd be like, okay, early education is not for you. So we're going to pick something else, right? So we do that. Okay, so, and another thing I want to show you is that you don't know this, but it's, so a full year of going to class at at the college. So it's about $4,500 for tuition and fees. So going full time all year. That is 1/3 what it costs to go to a university. So, which is a good thing. So we have smaller class sizes. If I was to tell you that, so what would you think if you're taking a physics class at OC? How does that compare to the same physics class at UW? Think it's the same, harder, easier? What do you think?
Same.
Yay, you all graduate. It is the exact same class. It's the exact same outcomes. It transfers right over as the same course. The question is, do we have scholarships? How many and what percentage? I'm going to show you in a minute. Hold that thought. So just so you know that if you come to the college and you get a 2-year degree, an associate's degree, by all the MOUs we have with all the public institutions and many of the private ones, you transfer right in as a junior. They have to take those first 2 years and all those courses. The problem we have is if you take most of the courses and you don't get the full 2-year degree, and then you transfer to a university, they have the ability to pick it apart and say, well, this one's not exactly in the program and all that, which makes it harder for students. So, but anyway, we're working on that. Okay, so what else can I tell you about our diverse programs? So we have over 139 degrees and certificates. We have currently 6 bachelor's degrees, and those are these right here. This organizational leadership program is so popular, it's doubled in size, and it looks like it's about to triple in size now. Filmmaking is, I'm amazed how many students are flocking to filmmaking, and those students have gone to national and international film festivals. It is so much fun to watch. So, and our 7th, where that little asterisk is, where it says 7, we just had our 7th bachelor's degree approved, and that's a bachelor's degree of science in computer science, because that is such a needed program. So we're doing that. And then let's see. Oh, I talked to you about transferability. So Marty Cavalluzzi is the president of UW. 2 months ago, I was at a meeting where she was being honored, and she was talking about community and technical colleges. And this is exactly what she said. 1 of every 2 students who applies to the UW as a freshman gets in. However, 3 out of every 4 community and technical college graduates who apply to the UW get in. So not only if you went to, in fact, I was walking down the street one day and a woman came up to me who I'd never seen, just gave me a big bear hug. I was like, okay, what's going on? She said, I want to thank you. I put 2 of my kids through OC and we have saved that. She told me how much money it was. And then they transferred to the UW as juniors and everything's going great. So you save a lot of money, but your odds of getting in are higher, which I like. And don't get me wrong, if you want that 4-year experience and go to one of those universities and live it up. But it's just, this is a good avenue for some people. For those of you that did not hear that, the comment was, the math, which I want you to know is not from me, it's the president of the University of Washington. So the comment was about 80% of the students who go to a university think about dropping out. But if they've already come from a community and technical college, they've already been in it 2 years, so they're already tried and true, and they go in and they're successful. So
you weeded out, in other words, you weeded out a lot of people who haven't been successful.
yes. Okay, so I also mentioned PSNS. Well, I just love our relationship with them. It's long-standing, and we teach 26 programs. Hey, it moved around. How'd that happen? These were all lined up in beautiful rows before. I don't know how it happened.
It's magic.
I don't get it. Anyway, these are really neat jobs for the neat thing is about this, I mean, these are great jobs. These people stay for a long time. They're high paying jobs, they're wonderful, right? So a person who was on our foundation board, she remembers that PSNS used to go to all the high schools and recruit, and for whatever reason, they're not doing it all the time anymore. Now they go out of state actually to recruit. But she told me one day, she's on the foundation board, and she said, you know, I really made a mistake, because I remember when PSNS came to recruit, and they came, and my 2 best friends went over to PSNS. She said they retired 3 years ago, and I'm still working at a bank. So, but it was neat. So we teach, and it's actually that's there. I actually at PSNS. But one day I did ask, I just said, you know, if we went into the high schools and recruited for PSNS, and it brought them to OC and taught them whatever you want, I don't care what it is, you say what it is, degree or certificate. If we did that, could we streamline them right into PSNS? And they actually love that idea. They're absolutely. And then I said, do we actually have to teach them at PSNS? Can we teach classes at Bremerton? And they're like, yeah, of course we could do that. We could do that. It's like, oh, okay, this is changing things. I mean, their needs are so big. You all know, right, that they've got that I think it's the country's largest dry dock is about to be built there. It's massive, and so something like 8,000 people are coming in to work on this. I mean, it's going to grow, and they need all these people. So anyway, I just love that. In addition, we have these high school programs. I just want you to see, because you know, you at least, what do they say? 70% of the jobs out there now require at least a 2-year degree or certificate. But you have to have a high school diploma, right? For most people to get anything. And we have several ways to get those, which I think is really neat, because there are people walking around, adults, who are like they don't know what to do to get it. But we have programs to help them out so they can get there. Okay, so then I want you to know that, so we're doing some neat things here. I don't know, did anyone here go to our newly renovated opening of our shops building in Bremerton, which just happened about a month ago or so? It is state-of-the-art building. You should go to our campus and walk around and find that building and just walk around and see it. It's manufacturing, precision machining, technical design, and welding. And it is a work of art. Even if you've never seen a welding station before, you will walk in there and go, wow, that's a welding station. It is awesome. All kinds of techniques and gases, and they do things like tight area welding. I forget, there's an actual term for it. But you know, if you're on a submarine welding, you don't have the luxury of pulling everything out and going to shore and doing everything. You are hanging upside down, or you're in pipes. One of our graduates, okay, how should I say this? One of our graduates was actually, one of our graduates was on a sub at night. It was his time watching these 2 people who were doing welding, and they had to go in these tubes that were literally the width of their shoulders, and they're holding these welders right in front of their mask, and it's like this, and a flame, you know, the sparks are everywhere. One man in there decided he was claustrophobic and had to get out. And I thought, you are on a submarine. That's going to be trouble. But one woman who's a graduate of our welding program thrived and loved it. And you said you could not tell this woman had welded anything. It was like absolute beautiful. But the neat thing is, once you're at PSNS, you can travel around to any other base. So then she decided, I'm going to go to Japan and weld over there for a while and get to know what Japan is like. So it's really cool. Anyway, this whole thing and precision machining, you need to walk in there and see that. Some of the stuff you do by hand, some of the stuff you program with computers, and it takes these large, big chunks of metal and it will turn it into anything you want. And you could build jet parts. In fact, 2 of our graduates are working for SpaceX. And they came in and they were showing these parts that they made for these rocket ships. It is so cool. Okay, Paulsville campus, we're expanding it. Unfortunately, when it was built years ago, the whole front of that building right there, for whatever reason, doesn't have the waterproof seal around it. So every time it rains, it's been leaking in for years. We're fixing it right now. And we're doing a healthcare expansion project at the same time, which I'll share with you in a second. And Shelton, we're expanding that campus as well. And we actually opened up a commercial driver's license CDL program a few quarters ago. And now we're opening up, ready to open up construction trades program. So we have welding in Bremerton and Shelton, really successful programs. They go, and you can be a welder and go anywhere you want. And in fact, PSNS just lost a bunch of their welders and we lost a bunch of our graduates because Boeing came up there and offered them $90,000 to go south. And they took it. So all of you could rethink your careers at this moment if you want. It's a good thing. Okay, so some of the things that we're doing, I already shared with you about Running Start program, but I'm really proud of that program. It's, you're taking these young students and you're putting them on a campus with people much older than themselves. It's usually the parents that are nervous more than the students. But most of the time when I ask students why Running Start, the typical answer is I just had to get away from the drama of high school. And then they get to the college and they're expected to be, adults and learning and treated like adults and they thrive. Yes.
Yeah, I just have an example about Running Start. After my career crashed and burned, I was a clinical social worker at the VA for many years and situation developed so that it sort of crashed and burned. And I decided to go back to community college. I was going to North Seattle Community College at the time. And I remember sitting at a table and this young man, he looked awfully young.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hi, who are you? And because I was becoming real friendly with people and stuff, trying to get back in the groove. He said, I'm in high school and I'm doing Running Start. And this was like 2007.
Sure.
I was so impressed by him.
That is a typical story right there.
Yeah.
These students are so driven. And in many of the classes, they're the ones that drive the grading curve. I mean, they're so studious and I really am in awe of them because that wasn't me in high school. But I'm glad that we have that program for them. And it saves so many of them.
It's tuition free. They don't have to pay tuition to take this class.
So the question is tuition free? Do they have to pay to take the classes? And it is absolutely free to them. It's beautiful. So so think about that. You have students in high school who are getting college credit. It's free. And I'm so happy that the legislature, last year, last year, the legislature approved Running Start students to take classes in the summer and covered it because prior to last year, they actually had to pay regular tuition if they wanted to take classes in the summer. But, the legislature and everyone else realized we're holding these students back. And so now they're covered. So last summer, they all came to our college for free and it got covered. I just think that is a phenomenal program for those students. Our military and veterans program, you heard me talk about how proud we are of this. These are students, a lot of these students just need something extra. Actually, like lots of our students do. So we have what's called the student lounge, and it's just all military and veterans in there. And then we have a support center that helps them out tremendously because the different funding that you can get to go to college gets confusing, and which classes you can take and how they're covered gets confusing, and whether you get housing covered and everything else. So we have people at the college who specialize in solving all those issues. And so when you come to the college as a active or veteran, you are covered. We do it so many different ways, help our students out. So, and now we've added a new thing down the bottom, the Kitsap County Veteran Resource Center that's partnering with us as well. We just look for multiple ways to help our students out. We have some wonderful university partnerships that I think are fantastic. We have with Washington State University, which is co-located right here in Bremerton. It's, I don't know, for those of you who've been in here a long time, if you're driving by and you look at that building, you'd be like, that looks like an old auto body shop. That's what it was. It was a garage. There were garages, but now it's for engineering. And we have both mechanical and electrical engineering, really popular programs. So students come and start with us for their associate's degree. They're in the same building with faculty from Washington State University, and they just seamlessly transfer right in. In fact, some of our faculty teach at WSU and vice versa. So they're seeing the same faculty. We have a lot of scholarships for engineering because it's such a big need out there in the country. So some of our students get full ride scholarships through our 2-year degree. Then they get full ride scholarships through their bachelor's degree. And then PSNS, like I don't know this year, but a few years ago came over and offered every one of those graduates $18,000 signing bonus if they go to PSNS. And PSNS always tells us they'll take every one of the graduates. I mean, so I want you to think about that, how wonderful that is, that there's a good chance you can get your education completely covered, make some money, and then go to PSNS and again, have a wonderful job. So I think that's wonderful. Western Washington University, 3 years ago, I think we started what's called the Guaranteed Transfer Admissions Program. So if you come to OC and you say, hey, I want to go to Western as well, you just fill out this document, and as long as you keep a certain GPA and you make it through in a certain amount of time, you're automatically accepted to Western Washington University. So you don't have to think about that, which I think is a wonderful thing. And through them, we have, what do we have? I'll tell you what we have. We have 7 different bachelor's degrees. So you can stay right here, mostly in Paulsville, and get business administration, cybersecurity, early childhood education, elementary and special education, environmental policy, environmental science, and multidisciplinary studies. And now they're also building a new building up in Paulsville that'll be really for cybersecurity, expanding that. So that's happening. ODU Global is offers online bachelor's and master's and PhD programs. It's really specialized for supporting our military connected students, because you can come here and start taking a program and all of a sudden you're transferred somewhere else in the world. Well, you can enroll in that and keep on going. So it follows you wherever you are in the world, which I think is spectacular. And that one, it's business and marketing, computer science and engineering. So then the point about this slide that I want you to see is that 90% of our graduates remain in the area after graduating. Through our foundation, we had a company that came and did a survey, asked all of our students where you want to go once you graduate, and 90% of them said they want to stay right here in this area. They said, there's no way, no, that's never been that high when we've done this. So they ran it again, and it was 90% again. So these people are staying. So the neat thing about that is that these are your neighbors, right? They're graduating. These are your neighbors. These are your employees. These are your employers. These are people who are going to come back or stay here, and they become thriving and fully engaged members of this community. And they're giving back, and it helps the community thrive. Okay, so now I want to talk about one of the things we're doing. You know, we're always looking to the future. So we just added, so we're going to get that bachelor's degree in computer science. I'm just trying to think of all the different programs we've just added. We're always adding new programs just to see what's out there. The big thing we're focusing on right now is healthcare expansion. I think you all know, right, that nationally we've got a healthcare crisis. It's nuts. In fact, I saw my doctor on Bainbridge Island today. I called yesterday and said, I need to see my doctor. And they said, well, she had one cancellation tomorrow, which is today at 1:30. And if you don't see her then, it's going to be March. I was like, yeah, so, but that happens, right? But there's lots of other things. I mean, you try and get your teeth cleaned. If you miss that appointment, you're out for 6 months. I'm supposed to get them cleaned every 6 months. I went and they said, okay, we're going to schedule your next one. And it was 9 months out. And I said, that's not 6 months. And he said, that's as soon as we're going to get you in. I was like, okay, works for me. All right. So here's the goal. We're, trying our area CEOs like Chad Melton at St. Michael Medical Center. He and other CEOs of hospitals have been asking for new programs. I mean, specifically, this is what they need, right? And they've asked for phlebotomy. They've asked for radiology, sonography, and surgical technology. So these are all programs we're trying to launch for this fall coming up. But I'm happy to say we've already launched 2 of them. Phlebotomy just started this fall, and that's the drawing of blood. So any of you, I'll show you, there's 2 ways to get into that program. But all I ask is, I know you are very conscientious community members. If you want to help these students succeed, you can go in there and put your arm out and say, you practice on me, draw some blood. And I think that would be a wonderful way to help this community. So that program started, right? This program, radiology, it's supposedly, it's going to start, if everything goes right, starts in the fall. There's lots of hoops. You don't just open up a program. These are all nationally accredited programs. First, you have to run through all the hoops in our own college to make this is going to be a legitimate program. Then you have to go to state level, and then national level if you're trying to get it accredited. It comes with so many criteria that you have to meet. It's an unbelievable amount of work, but we're doing it. But radiology has already had 40 people. They're on an unofficial, because we don't have a program, we have an unofficial wait list of 40 to get into that program. And that program is so big. A college trustee up in Bellingham, her husband is the CEO of a hospital in Bellingham. I saw her at a conference and she said, my husband wants you to know they will take every one of your graduates from that program. Hey, I'm seeing that this is batteries running low and I got to plug it into a PC. Jose, Greg, what do I do? Everybody stay calm, stay cool. If this was an actual emergency, you'd be notified what to do. Meanwhile, I'm going to talk quickly in case it dies. Okay, you see this where it says Corpsman Medic, the Practical Nurse Program? Was anyone here a corpsman in the Navy, Air Force? Anyone? Well, I was going to thank you big time for doing it. If you are in the Navy as a corpsman, you're going to make it. If you are in the Navy as a corpsman and you get out, so you're in the Navy. In fact, I just met with somebody, the person who's in charge of St. Vincent. As I described this program, if you literally saving hundreds of lives under fire. So you'll see in a second, we actually offer 3 Bachelor of Science degrees in nursing. But again, that's a huge accreditation thing. And we are not allowed to just open up any bachelor's degree because of universities. They have to be workforce related and we have to get permission. It was only this last year that colleges were allowed to start offering Bachelor of Science degrees in computer science, because universities are all doing computer science, but it's easy to show that they're not meeting the needs. So then it got expanded to community and technical colleges.
Can I follow up with that question?
Yeah, the question is basically the person asking the question has taken lots of classes at OC that aren't really workforce development oriented, and didn't realize that we're so workforce development oriented and hoping we still do the other things. So the question I need to tell all of you, I remember at the very beginning, I said, you're just seeing the tip of the iceberg of what we do. I had to pick something to talk about, and this is what I decided to talk about. But if you want to hear about our greatly expanding theater program, if you want to hear about our greatly expanding choir, and that we're also doing operas, I mean, really, we have a woman teaching opera that is out of this world. If you want to hear about that, if you want to hear about what we're doing around counseling and tutoring and childcare and athletics and food services, I mean, dozens of other things, Jill, you're going to have to invite me back, because I only had certain things, but just so you know, And in my mind, what I'm hoping, my master hope, which I can't, that's not part of this today, is that every Thursday night, all the community members in Bremerton and Paulsville and Silverdale and Shelton, everywhere, they sit around and go, huh, what's happening at OC this weekend? And that we are offering, I mean, every quarter towards the end, you should at least see a choir concert, the symphony band, I mean, everything, all these different things, plays. And just so you know, during the pandemic, one of the classes that just exploded was pottery. The teacher there found a way that students could drop off their stuff and she put it in the kiln, and so many people were doing pottery. So no, please don't think we're focused just on that. But when you also look at how many students are starving, we need to get them jobs, right? There's lots of different ways to get jobs. So they can take theater, they can take music, they can take voice. There's lots of different things. And in fact, one of our faculty members who teaches guitar, mandolin, and other things is a national flat picking champion. He's won major awards. He's just awesome. So if you're thinking you want to do that, I highly recommend it. Okay, so I'm jumping back into this because we're going to run out of time. This Navy corpsman medic to practical nursing. So the person I talked to yesterday when I talked about this is the only program of its type in the entire state of Washington. It's the first one of its type. And I actually am going to talk to a legislator, and I was talking to this other person that I'm just shocked that this isn't federal law, that if you get out of the Navy as a medic or the Air Force, that you automatically don't get credit. Because as he shared with me yesterday, this one person, they can do IVs in their sleep. But if they get out of the military, they're not even allowed to do an IV here without totally starting all over. So this program, you actually come in and you actually already get credit for what you've done, and you go back out as a nurse, and it turns right over. And in fact, the woman, Dr. Alicia Nye, who's our dean for nursing and allied health, her husband actually got out as a medic, and he couldn't do a thing with it, had to switch things. But I mean, it literally, they could be saving hundreds of lives under fire with no doctor in sight, and then get out and have nothing to show for it. I just think it's insulting. So now we have a program to help them. Yes. So the question was, how did this come about that people get out of the military and it doesn't count for anything? It's corpsmen and medics. And then the response in the room was that it's been going, actually, what was the response? It's been going on for years and years and years. And
we're finally finding paths to make it happen. Thank you
yes.
for doing that.
And we're finally finding paths to make it happen. Yeah, the question is, do we still have two faculties at OC? Academic and then like workforce? How people like the degrees, depending what field they were, they had to have actual degrees, and then in professional technical, they could just have certificates. And that is true, but our faculty are all faculty. That's the way I look at it. So, okay, so we have these 5 programs. Again, we just already launched the Corpsman Medics to Practical Nurse program. That's already up and running. So we're ahead of schedule. Phlebotomy is up and running. So by this fall, we should have radiology, sonography, and surgical technology. Then phase 2 is where this is a lot farther out, but we're working on it right now, is dental hygiene, dental assisting, paramedic, emergency medical technician, EMTs, and respiratory therapy. The local fire chiefs are just really wanting paramedics and EMTs for training. They're now sending people all the way to Boston to get that training. So that's how big the need is. And during the pandemic, you would have heard then Representative Kilmer say that people have died in ambulances because the ambulances, they cannot let people go and get admitted to a hospital unless there's a nurse to actually accept them. When there's not enough nurses, people sit in there, but then they didn't even have enough paramedics and EMTs to go and help people. So it's a bad thing. So we are trying to address all this. Dental hygiene is a huge program for accreditation. It takes years to get going. We're already well in it. We have some community members who are dentists who are helping us get through that program. But Peninsula College out of Port Angeles has been working on theirs for 4 years. So, but I think we've got we're moving ahead quicker. Okay, these are our current pathways in nursing and allied health. So we have nursing assistant and practical nurse. You can go from a practical nurse to an ADN, which is an R, so to an RN and then to a BSN, so you can get a bachelor's degree. You go from an LPN to an RN. You can go from the veteran LPN to BSN, and you go from an RN to a BSN. So lots of different pathways there when you asked about bachelor's degrees. And we have a physical therapy assistant, medical receptionist, building and coding, and medical assisting, and then a medical assisting program that's a transfer program. So then moving into the future, this is where we're heading. So the programs I just described to you, there's 5 of them, right? The Corman Bridge program, phlebotomy, surgical technology, radiology, and diagnostic medical sonography. And there's 2 ways to go with phlebotomy. That one on the right, phlebotomy certificate of proficiency, you just need a high school diploma to get into that program, and you can go get a job. So that's a wonderful thing. That's where we're heading there. And then phase 2, again, respiratory therapy, which is huge, dental hygiene, dental assisting, EMT, and then paramedics. And then those programs right there, when you look at them all, this is how long they take. I know it might be hard for some of you to read that. Corpsman can take just 2 quarters. So those people get out of the military, and 2 quarters later, they have that certificate. But then there's other ways to go. The phlebotomy, you can see all the different lengths. And when all this is up in Paulsbo, we have a new medical building up there. The goal is to take everything in Bremerton and move it all there. So we have one large medical center with actual clinics where people can come in and get treated at those clinics. We're talking to the Suquamish tribe and hopefully partnering. They want a mental health clinic, but their funding's actually ahead of us, so they might be doing it somewhere else. But when it's all said and done, we will have close to 700 students a year working towards high wage, family wage careers, really good careers locally in our community. And with that, I say thank you. Any questions or comments? Hey, so the question is, how do I think the high school students coming to the college are prepared? Is it better or worse than in the past? It's kind of a mixed bag. We have some students like Running Start, they are so prepared. They're over prepared. I mean, we have students who have so many different barriers like food insecurity and housing and everything. But they need a lot of help, like first generation college students need a lot of help to get where they're going. We also have students where you could not put enough barriers in front of them. They know where they're going to OC, and then they're going somewhere else, and they just don't care. They don't need to talk to you. They know where they're going. But then, the answer to your question, Jill, is I don't even think about it, because anyone at all can come to OC. It doesn't matter. People have asked me before that you want them to have college level math and English before they get there. Wouldn't that be nice? Yes, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you are in life. You can come to OC. It's like you saw those different high school completion programs. We can get you where you want to go. So there's no, it doesn't matter. So I'd say they're where they are. It just matters which high school they came from and what else is going on in their lives. So the question is, how do staff of shelters connect with some of our students who need that help? We have a resource center that's just loaded with information. I mean, they have a book about this thick of all the different resources. That is correct. The staff at the shelters would connect to the resource center. Yes. Well, thank you very much. So the comment was that a lot of students just need training. They don't need the college degrees, and that's what we're offering. So the question is, how supportive of community colleges of the state of Washington? I'd say very supportive. Right now, the state's facing a huge deficit right now. But what at least the new governor's budget, even though he doesn't write the budget, the legislators work on that. It actually shows no reduction for community and technical colleges. Because if you want to change the economy and you want to keep things moving, you got to keep people moving through the colleges, right? That's a good question. So the question is, if people come from another country and they already have a degree, do they qualify for some of those programs? And actually they do. Yeah, we have ways for that to happen seamlessly for students to transition into the college. It's wonderful. So the question is, how about the international student program? We started a while back. Is it still going? is absolutely still going. I can't tell you exactly how many students we have, but we've always been shooting for a number around 300 students just because it's so much fun. They bring so much to our college. It's wonderful. And we have a residence hall, and some of those students stay there, but many of them stay what's called a homestay. So any one of you could say, I want to be a homestay parent, basically, and host these students. And what's wonderful about it, I mean, almost every one of them, you're not just hosting a student, you become a member of their family, and they invite you back to Cambodia or Japan or somewhere. I mean, some of them start these lifelong relationships that are just wonderful to watch. You're welcome. Again, I mean, we're really just scratching the surface of what we do. And I'm happy, if any of you ever want a tour of the college and you want to get involved in different ways, I'm happy to give you a tour. But I will tell you, every time I've ever given a tour to someone, they end up enrolling. So think ahead before you come. But I mean, again, thank you for that, Carly. I mean, we have a huge program for reentry, for taking care of people who were previously incarcerated. They're going to be your neighbors one way or another, right? So do you want them ready to be thriving members of the community or not? So that's what we offer. And there's so many other things. I mean, really, we could be here all day. It'd be fun. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the question is, are the academic programs still strong along with these certifications and apprenticeships? Absolutely. The highest number of students coming to our college are their transfer students. So I mean, that's the number one thing they're seeking. So it can be anything. It can be music, art, anything at all, language. I mean, any subject at all, and they're transferring to universities. So they're going strong. I mean, those programs are top notch. I mean, you get a lot of pride working at a college, but I'll tell you, our faculty and staff and administrators, I mean, truly, truly care about these students. Some of them are getting them lunches and dinners. Some people supply food, and others just sit. I actually today had a student come in to me, and she's a graduate, and she came in and just said, I just want to thank you. I was like, for what? And she said, for listening. She said, I was at the end of my line last year, and I sat in your office and you listened to me for over an hour, and then you gave me some real practical advice. And she said, I'm just coming back today to say thank you, because you see I'm rebounding, and now I have a job interview today at the Bremerton School District. And she just said, I just want you to know, because you listened when some people didn't want to listen. You know what I mean? But I'm not the only one. We all do it. Yes. So the question is, do we still have the senior waiver program? So if there's room in the class, can you just take it? And yes is the answer. We still have it. In fact, I texted my VP earlier today, and I don't have an answer. I was trying to figure out exactly. Carla, you probably know more than I do about it. The question was, the comment was you have to buy the books, but did you know we are leading the state? We're the #1 college in open educational resources. OER it's called. It means they're free. It's free or very small, like $15. We produce our own work or we get it elsewhere, and and we share it with people instead of having them buy textbooks. So you don't have to buy everything. You're still a lot there, and they're expensive. So the comment was, I mentioned lunch, and do we still have the dining room there and the culinary arts program? So we do have our culinary arts program is going strong. We do have a room called the Fireside Bistro, which usually they do a 4-course meal once a month, and it's a different nation basically, and the students put it on, and that we're doing those. Those are still happening. I haven't seen them advertised yet this quarter, but those are still happening. And just so you know, we're also remodeling our whole food services area. It kind of looks like the 70s. But one person we work with, one of our employees said, we should have a wall of food that's $1 or less, like just full of bananas and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and hard-boiled eggs, that just a whole wall, you just pay $1 and walk out. And so that we're working on that as well. And then trying to change the space so that more students feel comfortable just staying there all day. And that's where we're at.
This has been wonderful. I want to call your attention that you don't have to go. We're going to stop the program now and stop the questions for a while, but we always want you to talk amongst yourselves. There you can get water or a little tea out there or cooking, and you can continue the conversation amongst yourselves at that time. I want to say also that I was reflecting on. I think this is wonderful and it's been new to me. I did not know about these programs and one thing you call it the workforce development. You see, it's a little bit different concept
Mhm.
than a four-year cut. So I was thinking, really, if the president of Harvard were here, let's just compare the two, what the president of Harvard would say.
Probably not as good looking.
I don't know, maybe. No matter what. But there's a good looking woman there at one time, so, I mean, in any case. Really, this place really helps people. I'm totally impressed with how much. You're really helping people get jobs and helping people. And I liked your response to me that you said you didn't really count what happened before because you take them from where they are.
Mhm.
I thought that was a very impressive statement. So
Mhm.
let's thank Dr. Cavalluzzi.
Thank you.